In the hymn, Thine is the Glory, which is set to music composed by George Frederick Handel, there's a line that says, "Lo, Jesus meets us, risen from the tomb. Lovingly he greets us, scatters fear and gloom." While Easter is becoming a distant memory and all the jelly beans and chocolate bunny are gone here at Old Stonewall Farm, the bunny went rather quickly, I am still struggling with a decision that I need to make. And perhaps you're struggling too. And that is, I need to decide how I want to live. Do I want to live in the spirit of the tomb, standing around wondering where have they taken my Lord? Or do I want to live in the spirit of resurrection, stepping into that new life that God has for us, which means we can't bring any of the old life with us. We need to leave behind old grudges and worries and fears and doubts. Little Frida helps me embrace resurrection. She likes to hop on top of me, and I notice that the black spots on her breast, they look like little hearts. It is amazing because I named her Frida after my aunt, who inspired the faith in me. And so here's little Frida, who follows me everywhere, who perches on my shoulder and makes me take note of all of God's beauty that is around. It's like she steps on my shoulder and she says, "Look over here, look at the beautiful view." We all need a Frida to hop on our shoulder, to make us slow down and notice the God moments. Slow down, breathe, look. Decide, how do you want to live? The spirit of the tomb, weighed down, always sad, or the spirit of resurrection? I want to have the spirit of resurrection. I want that new life. I want to embrace all that God has. And I want to keep my eyes open. I don't want to be blind anymore to the beautiful gifts. There's even beauty to be found in the decision that I have to make about what to do with my 3 roosters who have become my buddies. But still, I need to remember, decide now, make the decision, spirit of the tomb or spirit of the resurrection. When we step into a resurrected life, that is when we start to see all that God has truly for us. Well, welcome, my friends, to Old Stonewall Farm, where I hope that you are sitting in a comfortable chair, because I am on the floor here in my colonial bedroom. For those of you who've been coming here for a while, you know that I have an extra room up in this old house in which there's no electricity, and it is decorated sparsely with 18th century style furniture. Some real, some reproductions, like the cradle my father made for me many years ago, patterned from a Dutch 18th century cradle from New Jersey. And so that is in the corner. And then, of course, I have my rope bed, which is original and oh so comfortable. I love it. But I am here on the floor because I was also sorting out a lot of material for quilting and making 18th century style jackets and petticoats. And I just had to organize. And I'm also up here because, well, my husband came home early. He surprised me. And while it was really nice having lunch with him today, we very rarely get to have lunch together. I just didn't want him to hear what I wanted to talk about today. It's not bad, but him being home, I'm like, maybe I'll have my visit with all of my Old Stonewall Farm friends upstairs. And another reason why I am still on the floor is because I don't think I could get up. I'm half joking. My knee is still bothering me a lot, and I don't bounce back as quickly and nimbly as I used to. But here we are, and I hope that our time together finds you still filled with Easter joy, that every single day, each and every step you take on your journey, the risen Lord is right there with you.
And that's one of my favorite Easter stories, because Easter isn't just one day. When we hear about the resurrection, the empty tomb, Easter is a season, 50 days of seeing the risen Lord, of living into that promise of resurrection, of really embracing the new. So in this season that we have, we often hear the story about Jesus's friends on the road to Emmaus, and they haven't heard the good news yet that Jesus is alive. So they're leaving Jerusalem and they're very downtrodden, they're heartbroken, they are just in sorrow as to everything that happened. And alongside of them, a stranger comes and starts to walk with them. And he's listening to everything they're talking about, and he sees how heartbroken they are. Now, they don't realize that it's Jesus. The stranger is indeed the risen Lord. And they wonder, well, how do you not know everything that just happened? I mean, the whole town is abuzz by the criminal that they put to death on the cross. And how is it that you're the only one who hasn't heard this? And Jesus just walks alongside them. He doesn't judge them. He doesn't reprimand them. He doesn't announce, hey, it's me. He just walks alongside of them, entering into the sorrow that they have. He enters into where they are. And that in itself is powerful, to know that whatever you are feeling, whatever you are dealing with, Jesus will enter into it with you. And that presence of knowing that he is there, not to judge, not to give you a quick solution, not to ridicule your little faith. He's not going to do any of that, but he's going to enter into that holy space, that holy space of questions, of doubt, of sorrow. Jesus enters into it and he allows it. And then they get to Emmaus and it's starting to get dark out. So they say to the stranger, Jesus, come join us for dinner. And so Jesus does. And we're told it's in the breaking of the bread, when Jesus does that and he gives it to them, that their eyes are open. I love that story because it reminds me how often I am blind to how the risen Lord is right there by my side, always with me, always wanting to help me. And I often wonder, what will it take to make my blind eyes see that I'm never alone and that Jesus is the most amazing friend to have? We all need a friend like that, don't we? So it's the time of Easter, time of hope. And I have to admit that I have once again found that my hope is starting to waver. I'm not going to say disappear, but growing weak. It's just that these past 2 weeks for me has been just filled with nonstop questions. What to do? What's my next step? How should I handle this problem? Where am I going? And it gets to the point where it's just too many decisions I have to make, not knowing which one is the right one. There's a name for that, decision fatigue, and it is real. When you are faced with too many decisions that you have to make, what happens is that you get fatigued, you grow tired. And that leads you to not making good decisions, and it makes you more confused. It gives you kind of a foggy head, and you're just bombarded by all these decisions, and you just don't know anymore what to do. And it could paralyze you. That's where I am right now. There's just too many things in my life that I feel like I need to decide on in order to move forward. And I'm finding that I don't know which direction to go. And on top of that, everything has just been going wrong. My car is in the shop. They won't be able to get the parts for a few weeks. And there was the hassle with the insurance company, with the car manufacturer. And then I have this old house, which is in need of some major repairs. All the old windows are rotted. The other day we had torrential rainfall and the rain just came pouring through the frame of one of the windows. So I have a whole list of repairs for the house and not a big budget. And so I have to decide what needs to get done. And then you have the fun of trying to find somebody to do it. We just don't have a lot of skilled contractors in the area, and the ones that are really good, well, they just never call you back. So now I'm facing that problem. And then I have the problem of the roosters. So I have 5 hens and 3 roosters, and I thought that they were getting to the place where they could coexist together. But it turns out the roosters are being overly aggressive with the hens. Nobody warned me about this part of having a little farm. The roosters, when they get too aggressive with the hens, can hurt them. And 2 of my hens are now missing feathers on their back because the roosters just ripped them out. And Frida, the little hen that follows me around, she even flies on top of me now. Frida, when the roosters get Frida, they like to really grab her neck, and she was bleeding the other night. And everything that I've researched has pointed to the fact that you just have to get rid of the roosters. And I mean, get rid of them. Don't even try to rehome them if they're aggressive. And I'm not at that point. I just can't. And for all my bravado and I want to be a colonial girl, I want to be a pioneer girl, I want to live off the grid. And you would, if you were back then and you had chickens and roosters, you would be like, oh, company's coming down the dirt road. We need some more meat on the table. So you just go out to the barnyard and you get a chicken and you process it for dinner. You know, I know that is what they have always done. And I thought that I could do it, and I can't. So my husband every day is like, we just have to get rid of the roosters. You got to get rid of them. And we do have a few farmers around. We have hunters around who I know will come over and take care of the roosters for me. I can't. I'm not at that point. I'm heartbroken. And so that's a decision I need to make. And each and every day, I have to decide, what am I going to do? I need to find a solution. So one solution with the 2 hens was to put an apron on them. There is such a thing as a chicken apron. I found these adorable little aprons that you're supposed to put on the backs of the chicken, and the elastic part right here goes under their wings. So when my husband saw that I got little protective chicken aprons for the 2 hens who don't have their back feathers anymore because of the roosters, he just looked at them and shook his head. And all he said was, no, the roosters have to go. I didn't say anything, and because I know in my heart he's right, something has to be done. So I've been praying on it. Well, let me back up. I wasn't praying. I was worrying for about 2 weeks now, every day. What am I going to do? And I did endless research on all the different solutions that are out there. Now, I did try to put it on social media. Does anybody want a rooster? No takers. I posted flyers around, no takers. I called 2 rooster sanctuaries, and they're not taking roosters anymore. It's just this area that we are in. When everyone gets baby chicks, there's always that chance that you're going to get a handful of roosters that you just don't want. So there's an overabundance of roosters and no takers for them. It finally got to the point where I moved the hens into the big coop and I keep them locked up. And I moved the roosters. I let the roosters just free range. And then at night they go into the small retirement coop, which I'm glad I did by. And that's how we're living right now. I know it sounds like a silly thing. I know that there are bigger problems in the world. And I know, my dear friends, that you're probably going through something that is a lot more serious, a lot more worrisome than roosters and hens. And so my apologies if this sounds trivial, and I don't mean to downplay the big problems out there. And if you are standing in the need of prayer, please email me, let me know, let's pray together. So this is a situation that has been consuming my days of Eastertide, a time when I'm supposed to be filled with great joy and hope and know that God is good. And instead, I'm letting the roosters and hens just fill me with worry, sleepless nights, weigh me down as I try to decide what to do. And the decisions are just getting too many. Like, there's just too many possibilities. And what is the right one? And nothing is coming to me that is saying this is the right decision. I woke up the other morning, I had a cup of coffee, I went onto the porch, and I sat there, and I just didn't know what was the right path to take with them. I want to treat them humanely. I want to have great mercy for them. I don't want them to suffer. I want them to have a happy life. And I really want them to be alive. Those three roosters, they're like my best friends. One goes after my husband. He is not happy about that at all. But with me, they're fine. And so it's hard to say goodbye to them. So I sat there paralyzed, not knowing what to do. And I know this sounds so stupid because I preach to you all the time, pray, pray. We need to be prayer warriors. And what's the one thing that I forgot to do? Pray. Give it to God. And when that hit me, that realization, I was just filled with, I just was filled with remorse. Like, God, I am so sorry. I didn't turn to you first. When am I ever going to learn to turn to God first? Give it to the Lord in prayer. What a friend we have in Jesus. That's the hymn. And it actually says, are you weak and heavy laden? Take it to the Lord in prayer. And I forgot to do that. Instead, I researched chicken aprons. So I was on the porch and I realized I did the one thing that I should have done first. And I prayed. A simple prayer. I just said, Lord, I'm sorry. I forgot to turn to you. Whew, when will I ever remember? But thank goodness you're always ready to listen, even when I forget to turn to you. That's the beauty of God. No matter how many times we forget that His wisdom is there for us, His care is there for us, no matter how many times we forget to give it to Him in prayer, He's always ready and willing to hear and to help. So I turned to God and I said, I need help. I have this situation here and I only want the best for the animals, your creation. And I don't know what to do. Every article and every conversation around me says that toughen up. You just got to get rid of them. But that doesn't feel right, God. That's what I said. It doesn't feel right. I'm not ready for that. Show me the way. Later that day, I don't know, I was just doing some random research for a story that I was working on for my day job. And you gotta love sometimes the social media, the algorithm. It's scary at times, whatever you're thinking or saying, and then it pops up in social media. But this time around, an article popped up about how you could create a rooster bachelor flock. I didn't even think about that option. First of all, I thought having 3 roosters was unhealthy, but there was another article that came my way, a God thing, that said 3 roosters could coexist together. And so this article about the bachelor flock, it was about a young couple who got chickens and they wound up with 5 roosters and they raised the roosters since they were, little babies, and they didn't have the heart to get rid of them, like everyone's saying you have to do. So instead, they decided to get another coop. They had a big property. They were able to put the coop far away from the hen area and have a fence. And they now live away from the hens, and they're happy as can be. I sat there thinking, a bachelor flock. I keep calling it my bachelor pad, but what a great idea. I have room on the property that I could move the roosters away. Now, the only problem is the fencing, because these chickens are a breed that they love flying up into trees, as you saw earlier on with Hans flying up into the apple tree. And so, yeah, they do like to go high up into trees. So they are able to fly over fences. But I do have room, and I think that's a solution. And it's the first solution, it's the first decision to this problem I have that has given me peace. So I know that there's something there that God is smiling over. I believe it was Saint Ignatius who was quite adept at decision making, and he had a lot of wise words to share with people who were struggling like me with too many decisions, decision fatigue. What is the best way to go? What is the God answer? And Saint Ignatius said that you know that it is the right answer, or the right path to step on when you feel that peace. Saint Ignatius also suggested the friend solution. Pretend you're talking to a friend who has your problem. What would you say to that friend? If you weren't that close to the problem, it was somebody else's problem, and you were a bystander, you were totally neutral in the situation, and you're seeing with eyes differently the solution, what would it be that you would share? So that was kind of interesting. If you remove yourself from being too close to the problem that is just eating at you, what would you say to yourself if you were on the outside looking in? And then St. Ignatius also said, think about your deathbed. The decision you make, is it going to be one that when you're on your deathbed, you are not going to regret? After I took it to the Lord in prayer, after I decided to just let go and let God, and then that article about creating a rooster bachelor flock appeared. Is it the best solution right now? Yes. And that is why we're meeting in the colonial bedroom here at Old Stonewall Farm, away from the ears of my husband, whom I have not told yet about my idea of creating a bachelor flock of roosters, because I know he will not be on board with that, because that would entail more work that we would need to do here on the farm, and I would want to install fencing, even though they probably will fly over the fence, but you never know unless you try. And if it means the happiness of my 3 boys, then so be it. So we'll see what happens. Hen aprons, bachelor flocks. Oh, the joy of Old Stonewall Farm. And it is a joy. Having chickens, having roosters. I still want to get goats. I still want to experiment and learn how to do things. And when you do venture into learning something new, when you do venture into a new way of life, a life that you've always dreamed of. I've dreamt of this life ever since I was a little girl growing up in congested North New Jersey. But when you do start to venture into that way of life, when you do start to find your dreams coming true, the realization is that dreams do come with challenges, that nothing is ever easy, but that shouldn't stop us from pursuing the things that we have on our hearts. It's so easy to to sit back and say, well, I really want to do that, but this is what can happen. I knew getting these chickens, I wanted Appenzeller Spitzhaubens, which are a Swiss heritage breed. I knew getting them that they were not sexed. They weren't all female. And so I knew there was a chance that I would get roosters. But I wanted to experience having this type of chicken as well. So I took a chance knowing that the situation I'm in right now, what to do with the roosters, I knew that that would happen, but I would cross that bridge when I get to it. And so here I am. And that's what I really want to leave with you today. That on your journey, Jesus is right there, entering into your problems, knowing all the decisions you have to make, knowing how tired you will get trying to make them, wondering what is the right one? Where should I go, God? What should I do? And Jesus is walking alongside of us, ready to guide us, to help us, to open our eyes. I speak from experience because these past 2 weeks of the Easter season, I have been blind to the Easter joy and hope. And so, my friends, onward we go. I hope that you never ever have to buy a chicken apron. And I hope that whatever decisions that you have to make this day, I hope that this time together has helped you to remember that it is not on you to decide. Take it to God first in prayer. Let the wisdom from above fill your heart, and it will. And answers and solutions will start appearing. Trust that. And if I'm able to get these aprons on one of the hens, I'll make sure to take a picture for you. But I am not very confident that I'm going to be able to get these elastic bands around their wings. Who knows? It might be a cute photo for you to enjoy. Stay tuned. So I will see you again very shortly. And remember, if you're standing in the need of prayer, send me a prayer request and I will hold you in my prayers. I might forget to turn to God first with my problems, but your problems, I got you covered. So don't hesitate. Please share your prayer concerns because prayer does change all things. I'm a slow learner, but I have discovered that. So until next time, God bless. And I will try to gracefully get off of the floor. I said I wasn't going to record this for you, but here we go. All right, that's as far as I get. Bye. Go put the chicken apron on? What? No, don't eat it. Don't eat it. No? Look at that. Fritz, you going to wear it?